Hi guys, we have many updates for you today from the Bitcoin ecosystem as well as other ecosystems including Ethena, Pike Finance, Magic Eden and others, so let's get started immediately. First things first, the Pizza Swap native DEX for Fractal Bitcoin launched by Unisat team is live. So let's go through how we can actually get assets there, because they have also launched a native bridge functionality. And all these things might potentially qualify you for future airdrops from Unisat team, which have been very airdrop friendly in the past. So let's see how this bridge functionality actually works. If you have ever done any transaction on Bitcoin like BRC20s in the past, the transfer inscription functionality will be very straightforward for you. But if you're new to this system, let's go step by step. So first things first, why is this so revolutionary? Because using this simple bridge, you can actually aggregate liquidity for many different projects and protocols on Bitcoin, which is actually very rare in this space that you can actually find such a DEX, which is actually legit. So all things considered, all assets using simple bridge will have a prefix S before the ticker to indicate it is bridged using this technology. So the deposit fee and withdrawal fee are both very, very minimal, only a couple dollars. So for this functionality, it is very good. Now, taking a quick look at Fractal Bitcoin's actual price, it has been tanking over the last couple of days, but it is kind of expected because it was, after all, a decent airdrop. And just as the BRC ecosystem has been on a big downtrend after the explosion, after the launch, I believe that Fractal Bitcoin ecosystem, which is probably one of the most reputable projects developed by the most reputable team, Unisat team, is going to follow a very, very similar trajectory, just like the original BRC20 ecosystem has. Big explosion in the beginning, and then very chill summer, and then another explosion. It's just going in cycles. So if you believe in the future of the ecosystem, maybe now is a half decent time to start DCAing, but of course, never financial advice. So if you have never used Bitcoin ecosystem before, this step-by-step guide is going to be incredibly useful for you. Of course, it even goes from the basics of setting up your Fractal Bitcoin wallet, which you can do so. We recommend using the Unisat wallet extension. Now, regarding the usage of the bridge itself, you can bridge many assets from many different projects, but for us and our purposes, we're going to be focusing on the blue chips that we've mentioned many times before, such as Bitcoin, ORDI, and SATs. So the process is the same, only the difference is between Bitcoin and these assets. So let's go through these rules. So for Bitcoin, all you have to do is simply go to the bridge, and all the links will always be in the description of the video. You just follow the first link and takes you to the video page. So if you're on the website and you are on the bridge page, you simply connect your Unisat wallet. If you have some Bitcoin on Bitcoin mainnet, all you have to do is bridge directly using native bridge, and it will be there between 10 to 30 minutes, depending on the gas fee that you choose and the sats that you're going to be paying. You will have your SBTC, and you will be able to use it further in DeFi for upcoming development. Now, if you're going to be using the bridge to transfer other assets than Bitcoin, for example, such as sats, the process is identical as if you were sending sats between wallets or to an exchange. So first you have to do is you have to create a transfer inscription. So you have to inscribe a transfer. So let's say that we want to use maybe sats or ORDI. You would have to go here, click inscribe transfer. You have to switch back to, of course, Bitcoin mainnet, because this is a Bitcoin mainnet transaction. Select the amount of ORDI that you wish to transfer to create a transfer inscription, and then pay the gas fee on Bitcoin mainnet. Again, Bitcoin mainnet transactions take between 10 to 30 minutes on average. You can check the current ongoing prices for gas on Bitcoin on mempool as always. And once your inscription is actually gone through, then you will be able to bridge it using the functionality just like you would using Bitcoin before. Again, you have to send your transfer inscription using the bridge. Everything is described here in the step-by-step process. Once your inscription is actually ready, it is inscribed, then you will simply send your ORDI to get your SORDI, simple bridge version of ORDI, using the bridge functionality. And if you want to make sure that you're not paying exorbitant gas fees, you can always consult with mempool.space. Here you can see the current gas prices on Bitcoin mainnet. At the moment, they are very, very cheap, between 4 to 6 sats. So make sure that you're not paying something crazy like 50 to 100 sats. If that is the case, that is probably because there is some hot mint or BRC20 token being minted. So make sure to at least wait half an hour, 1 hour for these prices to actually normalize. You can see that there are sometimes spikes of crazy amounts. So you really want to make sure that you're not overpaying for gas, because if you're new to Bitcoin, this is the easiest way to lose money. You can spend like $300, $400 on a gas transaction because you're just clicking and not looking what you're actually paying. Now, once we have our assets, our SBTC or our SSATs or SORD, what we can do here is we can actually swap our newly acquired tokens. Again, you have to switch back to Fractal Bitcoin mainnet. And again, if this is the first time you're doing stuff on Fractal Bitcoin, of course, you will need some Fractal Bitcoin for gas. And in this case, you will need to actually use .swap. It is the easiest way to get some Fractal Bitcoin, but we already discussed this in our previous video. So make sure to check that one out if you need some gas on Bitcoin mainnet. So in this case, we have our assets and we simply use a swap functionality. It is very straightforward. In some cases, you also need to actually make a deposit transaction. So if you're just swapping, for example, SBTC, then you are good to go. But in case you need to make a deposit transaction, simply follow the guide, simply inscribe a transfer as always, as we've done with the bridge, and you're good to go. You can also withdraw from this functionality, but again, this will be enabled in a future date. And finally, if you wish to provide some liquidity, it is recommended to do so because it's going to charge, the pizza swaps charges 0.3% of every transaction, and 5 out of 6 of 5/6, so 86%-ish, 84% of this amount is actually going to liquidity providers. So this might also be a criteria for potential airdrop in the future. If you have some assets, you might want to consider pooling them here in these pairs, because this will of course generate you platform fees, but it could be speculated that while we are super early for this, there might be some rewards in the future. Stepping away from Bitcoin ecosystem, let's take a quick look on updates regarding the latest tokens. So Eigen Layer token has become transferable a couple of days ago, and the price action has been relatively in a downward trend ever since it has been unlocked, but it was to be expected. Again, if you're bullish on the risk-taking meta, now might be a half decent time to start. But either way, this is going to be listed on already major exchanges, so there should not be any more huge token appreciations in the short term anyway. Now, regarding Wallet Connect updates, we have received the date. There's going to be a launch on 11th of November this year, so this is great news. And again, if you have not checked the updates for Wallet Connect, make sure to check the last video. Now, regarding Pike Finance, they are the guys who had Vechain's NFT, and we have covered them before because we were speculating that they might be involved with the Nedd airdrop. So if you are bullish on Pike Finance, we have received that there's going to be a token generation event coming up very soon. And there's also going to be, of course, in tokenomics, there is a part reserved for airdrop, so community and launch. This is going to be 15% of the tokenomics. However, there has not been any particular details, so if you're still holding your Vechain, then maybe we'll get some tokens for that, even though the value of the NFT itself has been incredibly underwhelming, to say it nicely. Next, we have some great news from Magic Eden. They are creating a very bullish scenario for their token by creating a account abstraction kind of way where you will be able to connect all your wallets across many different chains, and you will not need to use a seed phrase for doing so. You'll be able to claim your Magic Eden tokens through their mobile token claim inside Magic Eden wallet. So this is actually slowly becoming a main reason to use Magic Eden across Bitcoin ecosystem, because of course they are supported for BRC20 tokens. Now, TLDR is this, that there's going to be a test token in October, which you will be able to test the claim functionality. And of course, the tokenomics will be announced very soon. Now, regarding the Jupiter updates, has just finished regarding all the rewards, how the future funding is going to be reserved, and the vote concluded in the funding these actively participation of governance for 1 year. So of course, if you're staking Jupiter, make sure to actively participate in voting, because for 1 more full year, we're going to be receiving rewards for our active participation. And finally, some news regarding Layer 0. Apparently, there's going to be Layer 0 staking very soon. They are called crypto economic dividends. Something very technical. You can read about this in the blog, but most importantly, yes, Layer 0 is going to receive some future utility, which means that price might be actually looking a little bit better. And of course, this has been all the alpha that has been shared in our Discord. One of the legends, Blicky, has been sharing alpha non-stop, and we are super blessed to have him along many other great influencers in our Discord. And final note regarding Bitcoin. So we mentioned Pike Finance as one of the premier places to liquid stake your Bitcoin. And of course, there's been some interesting news. The fact that there's a lot of benefits to it. The only downside is you need to use a wallet without runes or inscriptions. So either you have a wallet without those, or you have to create and fund a new one. But there are many numerous benefits, mainly the lower gas fees, as well as automatically accumulating Babylon points, of course. Now, regarding the latest alpha, of course, we discuss all of these things in our Discord daily. BRC20 ecosystem channel has been absolutely amazing regarding the latest alpha in development. For example, we have some great KOLs here, such as Fox and many others. We are talking about new hot mints all the time, and we track many different active airdrops. We still believe that Hyperlane is going to be a cooker. So if you're serious about airdrops, we are waiting for you in our Discord. You can check the subscriptions page for all the details, monthly, yearly plans, as well as an airdrop tracking application to keep you organized. Finally, of course, don't forget the NFT, which gives you 10% passive income per month, and it all is generated through actual DeFi yield farming. So real funds generating real revenue. Wait, actually, there is one more quick update for Bitcoin. It has to do with Citria. It has just entered the testnet phase, and it is actually a first ZK rollup on Bitcoin. It's going to be fully EVM compatible, allowing Ethereum developers to simply transition to Bitcoin, and it's going to use Bitcoin as a settlement layer, which is, of course, very, very secure, the most secure blockchain in the world. And currently, there's only two things you can do. You can deposit to Citria using Bitcoin testnet, and you can play around a little bit with the ecosystem. There are some dApps in development. Of course, it is always recommended to use a burner wallet for these relatively risky dApps, but of course it's all testnet, so it is not that dangerous after all. We might be doing a full update on the Citria in the future because it's looking like a very, very interesting project. But for now, you can read up all the news and updates on their blog, which has just announced a couple days ago. Finally, we have news from Ethena Labs that there is a very time-sensitive vote still in progress on Snapshot regarding ethereal DEX. So this is going to be a perpetual and spot trading built using USD ETH. And in the future, there's going to be 15% of token supply potentially reserved for the airdrop of this future DEX. If the proposal passes, which is very likely to happen, then we might be looking forward to some airdrop from either protocol. Of course, even if you miss the snapshot, this should help you vote for the future airdrops for future voting periods, which means that you have to pay attention to these things and stay up to date with the ecosystem. Ethena is one of the best stablecoin projects out there, currently around 2.5 billion TVL, which is a significant drop from 3 billion plus it used to have, but it seems to be stagnating at these numbers. And if you're bullish on the project, now might be a half decent entry for the token itself. Of course, not financial advice, but as future rounds of airdrops will be giving out less and less tokens, that is slightly disinflationary at least, so it might be bullish very long term.